The Chronicles of Nostalgia, Jesus, Tilda Swinton, and expensive furniture. We start with the blitzing of London, and the kids are panicking, okay? Things are happening. This is on par with the chaoticism of the video game. Anyway, the family are running. Their mother takes them to a bunker in the back garden after the youngest son, Edmund, goes back into the house for a photo of his father. And then they all go back to the bunker and they hide. Then in the morning, like the kids are on a train that's going to the countryside and they're leaving their mother because of the ongoing war. And like this happened to a lot of kids during the war, like they were sent to the countryside during World War II to protect them. Anyway, so they're like in the countryside and they're just like waiting for someone, but it's unclear who they're waiting for. Then McGonagall's twin appears like shortly after, where she's then taking the kids to the manor and like that's where like the professor stays and that's who they're living with. Honestly, it's like such a large house. Like I'm shocked there's like not more kids than these four here anyway. Anyway, McCready is not hip with the youngsters, and something tells me she doesn't quite like them. So it's like raining, and they're all bored out of their mind, and they're not able to go outside, so they make up like a dictionary game. But that like just gets boring real quick, so they decide to play hide and seek. Honestly, it must be so fun playing in like a place this big. Like I would actually love that. Like it'd be really cool. Anyway, cue suspenseful music as young Lucy approaches an empty room containing a wardrobe. Yeah. So why is it called a wardrobe? Well, this is what I was wondering. Like, it's a weird question, I know, to have in a recap, but I was wondering, like, why is it called wardrobe? And it turns out, like, wardrobe is like a French word. I had no idea. Like, it's like a combination of wardrobe and garderobe. And I was like, okay. This is just the kind of things my mind does when I'm watching something, you know? Anyway, Lucy decides she wants to hide in the big ass wardrobe because, like, what a perfect hiding spot. But then, like, she slowly backs up and, like, she gets pricked by a tree in a wardrobe. And it turns out, like, she is in Narnia. Yes, Narnia. So she found a lamppost, like a lantern lamppost thing, you know. And, like, she then meets the phone, and who's, like, called Mr. Tumnus. And, like, I can't even get into this scene. Like, it is so messy. Like, young girl, age 6, meets half goat man in the forest where he tells her to go back to his house. Like, look, I'm not trying to be messy or anything, but, like, Lucy is the matinee, you know? Also, the white umbrella he uses, like, got me thinking, because that's, like, actually so smart. Like, imagine someone, like, trying to spy on you from, like, the sky, but, like, you have this white-ass umbrella and all this snow. Like, they're not seeing anything. They're literally snowblind. Yes, that sounds like a Demi Lovato song. Snow blind, snow blind. Da, 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 da. Literally, like, oh, that would eat actually as a song. Anyway, woodland creature offers young child tea laced with sleepy, sleepy drug. I did not write this, okay? I'm just pointing out what's happening. Anyway, you're the nicest phone I've ever met. Here's the only phone you've ever met. See, I knew he was shady. I knew he was like kidnapping her. Like, even though I've seen Narnia before, I just like felt it. Like, it's very kidnappy. And also, like, I love this like frantic scene. So it turns out like he was trying to kidnap her, and then he has like a change of heart, and now we've got this frantic scene, and it's like really early, but like, and like I like how early they build up the White Witch, just like here in conversation. Like, it's pretty cool, and it's like very early into the movie still. Anyway, she goes back through the wardrobe again. It turns out that like time is different in Narnia. So it was only a couple seconds in real life. So she gets out of the wardrobe and then she ruins the hide and seek game. And when she tries to tell her siblings about Narnia, like, surprise, surprise, they don't believe her. Anyway, this like causes more like riffraff issues between like the two, the siblings. So Edmund explodes at like Peter because like he has strong parental concerns like regarding the location of his, which are currently unknown. They are kind of assholes to Lucy. I mean, she's like such a young kid, and they're like just brutally putting her down about like Narnia and all that. And it's just like chill, like it's never this serious. Anyway, Lucy like wakes up in the middle of the night, but this time like Edmund follows her into the wardrobe. And he discovers like to his horror, like she was telling the truth. Yeah. So I think the scariest part for Edmund is like accepting that his like little sister wasn't lying. Like, what does he care? He'll just like masterfully like gaslight anyway. Like, even if she's like said, "Oh, I knew you believed me." Like, "Oh, you've seen it, you know." Anyway, then gets attacked by like a dwarf, and then we have Tilda Swinton. So we've had the wardrobe and Tilda Swinton so far. We're just missing the line currently. So this little dumbass then starts like spilling state secrets and like snitches on his family. Well, not intentional here, but he's like a little too trustworthy of this random woman. And then we have like a delicious Narnia mukbang. Loki, the whole reason why I wanted to watch this movie was because of this Turkish delight scene, and that was it. Because I've had Turkish delight before, okay, but it never just seems to slap the way it does in this scene. And like my heart aches, okay, at the thought that my beautiful lips will never be able to like triumphantly dominate the texture of that Turkish delight he's eating. Like, it instills fear into my core. That's how scared I am that I will never be able to try that. And then the White Witch just takes this dwarf sheen hat for some reason. Anyway, scary racist lady tricks Edmund into giving up his family for sweets. To be fair, they look good as shit, so like, who wouldn't, you know? Also, like, she's meant to be regal. You know, she's a witch, but she's like a queen. And she's just like in the carriage with the back position like this. Like, it's so fucking funny. Anyway, Edmund meets Lucy conveniently just after the witch leaves, literally seconds. Anyway, Lucy then goes back with Edmund, and she tries to tell Peter and Susan about Narnia again, saying Edmund saw it. But Edmund just lies for some reason, and he just starts gaslighting. He says like, "Oh, you know how kids are," and it's so evil, but it's actually kind of funny actually, but like kind of evil. Anyway, they're all rowing, and then Professor Slughorn appears, and Susan just calls Lucy a lunatic. Like, oh, she's so messy. Like, she's just a child. And then Edmund like breaks the window the following day while they're playing cricket with Peter and Susan, and then you just see Lucy like smirk like, yeah, fuck you. I forgot how much of an ass Edmund is in this one. Anyway, shortly after the window break-in, they're then running from the McCready in what is another painstaking video game mission. To get away from Timu McGonagall, they all decide to jump into the wardrobe. And they all discover Narnia. Well, Susan and Peter do. Because you the show have already seen it, you know. I was like, I'm actually so scared of snowballs, because like once I got hit like right in the face by like an older teenager, and it was like my first day of school, and I was blind for like 5 minutes, like I was dazed, and it was so embarrassing. Okay,
Too bad.
and now I just like get like constant like just PTSD anytime like someone even launches one towards me. Like, oh guys, I'm terrified. I would not survive a minute in Narnia. Anyways, turns out Edmund was a lying little bitch. Also, it's such an interesting concept. Not Edmund being a little bitch, but like the thought of like having these war-torn children, and then like they just find a magical land full of snow in a wardrobe. Like, that's very like C.S. Lewis. Like, even though I know he wrote it, but just you know what I mean. Shut up, okay? And it turns out like Mr. Tumnus is kidnapped by the police, and rightfully so. Like, thank fuck that weirdo's locked up finally. They then find a beaver. And it turns out he speaks English. On top of that, he also knows who Lucy is, because he gives her Mr. Tumnus's hanky that she gave him. Then the hamster like takes them back to their home or whatever, which is the beaver dam. Where it turns out Miss Beaver is also cooking something up. Anyway, they're talking, and it turns out Aslan is on the move. Whether that means he works for Deliveroo or something, I'm not quite sure, but even these kids have got no clue who Aslan is and why he's on the move. They'll decide like, oh, they're too overwhelmed. Like, we don't know what to do with all this information, so we're just going to go back. But it turns out that as they're about to go, Edmund's just disappeared from the beaver dam. Like, he's nowhere to be seen. And it turns out he's gone back to see the Turkish delight manufacturer. Question, would you sell your siblings out for a tantalizing piece of confectionery? And why yes? Edmund's POV then shows us the inside of the White Witch's castle, and it appears to be like littered with like very, very realistic statues, almost like these were real creatures turned into stone. And then he like trips over a wolf, and for some reason the wolf is American, and that scared the hell out of me. Not the fact that he's American, I mean that's a bit scary, but like the fact that he's just like there, and I thought it was a statue. Anyway, Jadis, the White Witch. Yeah, I call her Jadis because we're on a first name basis, okay? Like, I know her like that. She's angry because basically she makes a deal, okay? She makes a deal with Edmund, and she's like, right, if you give me your siblings, I will give you as much Turkish delight as you fucking want, okay? Like, you just give me your sibling. And the reason why she wants her siblings is because there's like a prophecy where like two sons of Adam and two daughters of Eve, very biblical, I know. It's basically saying that they're gonna kick the shit out of the White Witch. So what she decided is, you know what, I'm going to like set a trap, you know? Like, I'm going to just kill them before they get a chance to kill me. Anyway, so even though he doesn't have like the rest of his siblings with him, like he still wants like to touch the light. So like he basically, this little brat just like snitches on them and like he tells them where they are, like the witch where they are, like they're at the beaver dam and stuff. And like he didn't even get any Turkish delight for this. So like, what was the reason, you know? Then we're back at the beaver dam where like they're being attacked by the wolves that the White Witch sends. And it turns out that Badger and Beaver like originally made a tunnel so they could see each other because they were best friends. Also, this beaver hole is like considerably large to be able to like fit grown humans into it. But I just love when everything works out, you know? Oh, I'm actually so upset for him. Like, it turns out his friend Badger, like when they get to the end of the tunnel, was also frozen into the statues, like Edmund sees in the castle. They then like meet this dodgy fox who seems to like want to help them out, and I literally cannot remember him in this movie for like the life of me. Anyway, they just want their brother back, and it turns out the fox is like helping Aslan build like more of an army. Also, Edmund is like locked up now, so he did not get fed no Turkish delight, and then Mr. Tumnus is just posed like this forever. So while in the like prison cell, Edmund mentions to the White Witch that they were talking about someone called Aslan, and then the prospect of Aslan just like terrifies her because he's like the real king of Narnia, and she's like a fake lame ass wannabe, you know. Then Tumnus is turned to stone by Edmund just because like I think she was pissed, and then Edmund comes to the conclusion that those stones he saw earlier, yeah, they are real. Anyways, we're back to the others who are on like a adventure and they have to cross a frozen lake. And they're also being chased by Jadis, but it surely turns out that it wasn't her, like it was Santa. Anyway, Santa comes with some really cool gifts and like they're all just given their weapon classes. Like we have Susan the Archer, Peter the Warrior, and Lucy as like support, I guess. Anyways, the lake is melting and now they have to like cross it, but like they're being chased down by the wolves and the White Witch. Then Peter has like a face down with the wolves, and like Susan's being an absolute nightmare. Like she's a realist, okay? She's like figuring out the odds in her head. She's like 75% chance we're gonna live, 25% chance we're probably going to die, and this is not helping Peter, okay? Eventually, Peter just like stabs his sword into like a shard of the lake, like an ice shard or whatever, because the lake's about to break, and then the water just comes gushing down, and they're all just like going downstream. And I completely forget the beavers could swim because I get like horrified at the prospect of Miss Beaver just jumping in the water without any like support or anything. Anyway, the lake turns out to be the problem, but it was also the solution. Also, how did these kids not die of hypothermia? I'd like to know. So the snow's melting, like we see it like. So we see like the snow slowly start to disappear from places. Also, Edmund is once again given it all that yap. And as a result, this poor fox gets stoned this time. So then we go back to the other's POV. And they arrive at a war camp where there's like no snow left. This dog then like asks to see Aslan in like the most flat monotone voice ever that's literally on par with
you will die.
We finally see Aslan's for reals this time. Jump scare, like the girls are playing, right? And like the wolves somehow find them again. And then Peter comes to like the rescue and like Aslan then like just steps on one of the Ozempic walls. Then this like dumbass wolf just like jumps out of nowhere, like into the sword. Like, this is literally more grim. Like, he's meant to be, like, the head of the police. And, like, how can you be that dumb? Like, why would you just jump into a sword? Wow, you really not gonna do much to be a 99 year high. Like, he literally just kills Paul Moore and it's like, okay, you know what? Like, get down. I'm gonna knight you right now. Like, they're just handing these out to anyone. Also, I love the amount of, like, fantasy creatures in this movie. Like, it's so cool. Also, I think, like, a lot of them are practical effects. Like, especially with the Minotaur and stuff. It looks like the head's, like, a practical, like, asset, or it's just like really good CGI and like doesn't feel so odd in the scene, which like has more merit because like it's an old movie as well. Anyway, Edmund escapes and like is brought back to the camp. So basically they follow one of those wolves back. They rescue Edmund from the witch's camp and then bring him back. They all like talk and stuff and they catch up and they decide in the morning like they're gonna fight for Narnia. Like their previous like decision was like they didn't want to, but like now they're like, you know what? Yeah, maybe we will. Anyway, Susan just happens to be good at archery, but wait, Lucy just loves the dagger like it's no one's business. Like Arya Stark in here. Also, like the White Witch then appears at the Aslan's war camp, and it says that she wants to kill the boy because she's just being anal, and she's like, okay, he's mine, like he's my prisoner, like and my traitor, like I'm going to kill him. And then Aslan tells her to shut up, and then like he tells her to come like into his tent. And then they're gonna like discuss the terms and conditions of Edmund's like surrender. So some shady shit goes down in the tent, and then they like the witch just walks out and she like renounces her claim to Edmund because like Aslan promises something else. So later that night, Susan and Lucy wake up and like Aslan's like going somewhere and like decide to follow him, and then he like catches them and then he just like tells them to accompany him to like some point. And they're just like, how are you like grooming him? Like, it's so funny. Like, he's supposed to be like this majestical being, and he's like just getting groomed like the cat he is. It's really funny. Also, it turns out that Aslan switches places with Edmund on the stone table, and they're going to sacrifice Aslan instead of Edmund. And they literally just like disrespecting the lion. Like, they literally just start to shave off his head. Like, not his head, but like his mane. And it's so sick and twisted. R.I.P. Aslan. Also, it's like kind of brutal for kids movie. Like, I remember like when I was like rewatching this when I was younger, like I'd just skip over the scene. I don't think it's because it's too brutal, but more like it was just like one of those scenes that are unbearable watch. Like, it's hard to keep rewatching it, so I'd always like just skip through it. Like, that scene had me stressed. And then we have the epic battle thing. This scene literally still gives me fucking chills, and it's like such a cool fantasy battle scene. Then Jadis like comes out in like a battle outfit with like 2 pole bears, which is wild. But I mean, like, Peter's on a unicorn, so like, you know, whatever. It's literally still like one of my most favorite battle sequences in like like my favorite fantasy battle. Also, it turns out Aslan isn't dead because like the witch couldn't read like the sacrificial table instructions. Like, always check the manual, amateurs. Also, I don't like remember Phoenix in this movie, but what great use of a Phoenix. Every time this like music plays, like I get chills. Like, do not play with my emotions like this. And then what happens is like they start battling and stuff, and then eventually they're on the retreat, and like Peter's like falls down, and then the Centaur and Rhino come to like help him, and then them 2 teaming up, and like the Rhino just trying to like has me sobbing. And then the girls are like at Jadis's castle, and then like Aslan's breath, like I don't know if it's like because it's really smelly or whatever, like it just starts to like cure them of like the stoning. Suddenly they have additional troops, and then Edmund goes to help Peter, only to be stabbed. But he does like break the witch's wand, like as a sort of like compensation for his death. So Peter and Jadis are now dueling, and like he's just getting his ass kicked. Like, she's just like on another fucking level, okay? Then Raw XD, it turns out Aslan is alive, like to everyone else, and then they have like a ton more people, and Jadis like panicked, okay? Like, she nearly killed Peter, but then Aslan like pounces at the last moment, and she's like dead. Like, she gets eaten the fuck up. But Edmund also like dead-ish. So Lucy uses the potion she gets earlier from Santa, and like thankfully, conveniently cures him. And like this is the only time she uses it in the entire movie. They were then coronated. Yes. So I'm just wondering, could Lucy have not used that potion on people who are getting stoned? Like, would it not heal them as well? Anyway, back to Cape Araval. They're all serving looks in their outfits. A little eBay, but still look good. And I like the gold and silver like crown circlets. Like, they're really cool. Also, I was wondering, is this a monarchy or like basically like a council? Because there's like 4 of them. Why did I go into proper British then? Anyway, they all seem to have like aged a bunch after a while, and like the casting isn't that bad, to be honest. Like, it's believable. And then they finally find the lantern once again, and they go back to the wardrobe after all that time and return to their normal selves, where they meet the professor again. What a movie. But to some, it's more than that. To some, it's a Christian allegory where Aslan's representing Jesus because like he gets resurrected, and to some it's a critique on global warming in this globally warmed world. But to me, it's a disturbing horror movie about humans being humans once again. JK, I actually love this movie. Like, even after like being like God knows how many rewatches, like at this point it's just like a cozy and lovely movie, especially for like the winter periods, you know. And it's still like the best in the franchise for me, largely because like all the siblings feel active in the story as opposed to like the later movies. And Narnia's like, to me, like children's Lord of the Rings, which is funny because like C.S. Lewis and Tolkien were in a group together at Oxford and like were considered besties at the time. You get like that same high fantasy feel in Narnia, and like the execution of this book to movie is like quite neatly done, albeit I haven't like read the book since I was like 10. But anywho, that was Narnia. I'll catch you on the flip side. If we come back to California, just hit